How does the brain trigger other body parts to move?
Yeah, okay, so the movement of our bodies has to do with the nervous system. Obviously, it's the muscles in our body that allow our limbs to move. Muscles are the tissue of movement. But muscles don't know to move on their own. It's signals from our brain that tell muscles to move. So if we could just jump to my screen really quickly here. This is a just sort of simplified diagram of a human with the extent of the nervous system described by the lines here. So you can see that this almost looks like a sort of skeleton with extra pieces added onto it. And that's because the major nerves of the body run completely through the body and in many cases often follow bones in the body to get around to where they need to be. So the main location for neurons in your body is your brain. Your brain is the command center and the place that contains the most complex connections of neurons, but then extending through your body via the spinal cord. The spinal cord is like the sort of main cable running from the brain, and all other neurons and nerves branch off of that spinal cord. So there are two types of nerves that you have in your body, generally speaking. We tend to talk about either sensory neurons or motor neurons. And sensory neurons are neurons that are connected to your different sense recepting parts of your body, or receiving parts of your body, I should say. So like nerve cells connected to your eyes, nerve cells connected to your ears, your nose, and then of course all the nerve cells connected to your skin where you perceive temperature and touch. So those are sensory neurons. Those send signals back to the brain in the form of information. And then you have motor neurons, and motor neurons serve mainly to send signals from the brain to muscles to tell them to move. So that's essentially the answer to the question, but I'll just add a little bit more here. Again, the main type of neurons are going to be sensory neurons and motor neurons. There's also something called interneurons, which make connections between different types of neurons in your body and in your brain. Neurons are really interesting cells. In addition to having sort of the standard circular cell body with a nucleus and some of the different organelles, you have a large cable coming off of every nerve cell called the axon. The axon is the signal sending branch of the neuron, so it's the part of the neuron that that sends out signals. And it sends out actually electrical signals, and your whole body communicates through electricity via axons in your neurons. Dendrites are these kind of branches that you see pictured here. Dendrites can appear in any part of the nerve cell, and dendrites are receiving branches. So they, rather than sending signals, they receive signals from other neurons. This is kind of a simple little diagram here that shows, again, a neuron in this long branch here is the axon. And all this is showing is the electrical impulse moving up the length of the axon. So the axons of nerves are set up so that they can create electrical impulses via something we call action potential. So what they can do is they can depolarize themselves by forcing positively charged ions across a membrane, and then allow an electrical signal to flow by allowing those positive ions to flow back to the other side. So, and that was kind of a quick explanation, but this is a just sort of graph that shows how action potential works. So this flat line here is called resting state. So you can imagine the axon has a resting state where there's no charge running through it. But then what a neuron can do is it can force its axon to go into a state of depolarization, forcing, again, positively charged ions across a membrane. And that can raise the voltage potential. That's this sort of climb here that we see in the graph. And then through the process of repolarization, essentially, it had forced those positive particles across the membrane. They don't want to be there, but they've been forced using energy and biological channels on the membrane. It can then allow those positive particles to come back across, and that creates a electrical impulse, again, shown in a diagram like this, moving down the axon of a nerve. So motor neurons, though, those are the types of neurons. Although all neurons send signals in this way, motor neurons are the kinds that are connected to muscle tissue and are therefore the type of neurons that allow movement to happen in the human body.